There's some new research out that says 1 in 2 Brits feel lonelier than ever, than any time in their lives. On average, the last time a person met a friend was over 4 months ago, way back in the summer. And tomorrow is Blue Monday, which is a notoriously difficult day at the best of times, but undoubtedly this year it's going to be a lot tougher. I'm joined now by Dr. Rob Hicks to discuss this new research and for a bit of advice to tell us what we can do to make ourselves feel less lonely. Dr. Rob, hello.
Hi, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. I'd like this to try and be as uplifting as possible, if we possibly can.
You, you
I
and me
know.
both.
I know it's a tough time for absolutely everyone. There's no one who's been unaffected by this awful pandemic. Before we find out what we can do to make things a little bit better, just tell us some of the startling research, the startling things that were revealed in this research.
Well, I think the startling stuff is that 1 in 2 people are saying that they feel lonelier now than they have before in their lifetime. And 1 in 5 say that they've not met with a friend in person, face to face, over the last 7 to 12 months.
That's awful, isn't
And,
it?
and I think that's really sort of puts it into perspective.
It,
What's
it
going
does,
on?
and it also demonstrates what a lot of experts are saying, that most of us are sticking to these rules and making big sacrifices.
Yeah, it is. I mean, on the plus side, it means that we're doing as we're told. Um, and I think one of the other reasons why people are feeling lonelier is that they're missing their communities. So, and I'm not talking about the neighbourhood communities necessarily, but like sports clubs, going to the pub, going to a cafe, restaurant, going to the bingo, going to their choir, whatever they do as a group, on a regular basis, which perhaps we've all taken for granted and not appreciated the benefits that these communities can bring. But once these are taken away from us, the impact can be enormous. And I looked back to my grandmother's days when she was alive, how she used to go to her bingo club a couple of days times a week with her friends, and it really was a social centre for her. She played bingo obviously, but she'd have a cup of tea, a chat, a catch up, and she'd be with her friends.
Something to
And
look forward to, isn't it? It was
Yes,
yeah.
and it was routine, and it was something to look forward to. You knew you were going to see your friends on a certain day. It's like playing Sunday morning football, isn't it? It's you're going to have a kick around with your mates, and so I think one of the important things that we can all do, looking at this more in a more positive light, is that we can try and maintain this sense of community in the most appropriate way. And so, for example, this might be through video calls. The Buzz Bingo, who did the research, have a Buzz Buddy scheme where their general managers will call on, phone up their vulnerable and elderly members just to make sure they're okay, to have a chat, and again to try and maintain a semblance of this community until we get out through the pandemic and can go back to our normal or usual
Do
behaviours.
you know what, Rob? If there's any good to come out of this, it is, our older generation, our more senior members of our society have had to kind of grasp technology, haven't they? And that's something that will bode them well in the future.
I think we all have to.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, I
Did you
have
know
two
what a Zoom
children.
was? Did you know what a Zoom was before
No,
last year?
I thought it was nice, Lolly.
Yes, you're showing your age, Rob. You're
I
showing
am
your age.
showing my age. I'm up there in the baby boomers, So who interestingly from the research are feeling lonely the least, according to research.
Yeah.
Whereas
What kind of ages are affected the most by this? Is it our older?
no, well, looking at the research, it's the millennials, so the 25 to sort of 39, 40 year olds, where 3 out of 4 of them are saying that have felt lonely in the past year, and we don't know exactly why that is, but I can imagine, hypothesize that if you're somebody in that age group living alone, and you've been furloughed or you're having now to work from home, then you've had your community, your work community, your workplace community, sort of taken away from you. You're not getting that social interaction in the workplace that may have been one of your sources of community. But you mentioned at the top end of our conversation about being positive. about this. There are lots of things that we have learned. You say already, technology. I think we've all learned the value of community. We've all learned the win-win scenario of helping somebody else, being kind to other people. And I hope these things continue long after the pandemic becomes a moment in history. But also the things we can do, apart from keeping connected with each other through whatever means works for the individual, keep a routine.
Yeah.
Helps to maintain self-esteem, a feeling of self-purpose, move around more because activity helps reduce stress, gives us more energy. If you're finding yourself that you've got empty time periods during the day, rather than sitting and dwelling on the misery of the moment, fill those empty time periods. It might be, I'm sure you do as well, I've got a get around to task list,
A big
things to
long one.
do. Yeah. So maybe do those, or try something new, something you've always wanted to do, to learn, that you haven't had time to do or the opportunity to do, but you do now have time to do. How many times have you heard people say, "Oh, if only I had a month off, I'd do this."
I suppose the fact is we should look at it as an opportunity. We have this extra time on our hands. Do something with it. Don't waste it.
Absolutely. I mean, ever since I was a teenager, I wanted to play guitar. And so in the first lockdown with my eldest daughter, we decided to do a free online guitar lesson course. And believe me, you don't want to hear me play guitar, but I've had a go, and I've had a try. So it might be that somebody wants to learn to paint or learn a new language, or they might want to learn a new craft or hobby. It's what's relevant to the individual, what works for you as an individual. And I would also say, try and do something each day that you enjoy, that gives you some pleasure and happiness. And at the end of the day, try and reflect on those things, the things that went well, the things that you enjoyed, rather than the things that didn't go well, the things that actually felt a bit miserable. And hopefully, if we all pull together, as we seem to be doing as a nation, as a country, we'll get through this successfully together.
Absolutely. We're made of strong stuff. That's what we are. And the beauty now, of course, is people can see a light at the end of the tunnel, can't we?
I think with the arrival of the vaccines, all of a sudden there is a glimmer of light there that it's important to focus on that.
Dr. Robert, stay positive. Great, big, sparkling, huge light.
Yes, sorry. I meant a searchlight of
That's right.
of hope.
Listen, if people would like more information on things they can do to cheer themselves up and stuff, where can they get that from?
Well, certainly if you're feeling lonely and you want some help on that, then the Mind charity website is a great place to go, as is the NHS website. If you want to learn more about the bingo community, then have a look at buzzbingo.com. But let's be optimistic, let's stay positive, let's enjoy the life we have, and let's get through this together.
I used to love a game of bingo, especially the bingo down the arcades, amusement arcades. You know, where you flick the little windows
Yes.
over the
Yes.
and you'd win yourself a fondue set or an
Absolutely.
FM radio. It was fun.
Yes, Barry Island in South Wales. It was for me.
I remember. I was there. I remember you, Dr. Rob. Listen, thanks for your time today. It's been a pleasure.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you very much indeed.
All right, you take care, my friend. Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye.